What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the Furnished. And remember, Christ is king. Charleston White defends his position on why, as a black man, he supports Trump. Let's listen to how this liberal podcast host spars with him on this topic.
But I want to know why you wore that Trump hat in here. Tell me about this Trump hat.
I'm a diehard Trump supporter. In my household, you got Martin Luther King, you got Jesus, and you got Donald Trump.
Wait a minute.
Not in that particular order, but yeah, you got Martin Luther King, Jesus, and Donald Trump.
Why you got Donald Trump? Now, you know, well, I'm a straight Democrat, but I'm for the best person.
Yes,
but
sir.
now, why you got Donald Trump?
Because I paid attention in school when I was a kid, and so I know the true history of both the Republican and Democratic Party. I know that they really didn't switch during the Nixon Southern strategy. That one became more clever than the other in dealing with black people. We the Democrats niggas. We got away. We were the Republicans' friends. We was their friends, but we were the Democrats niggas. When you look at the origins of the Ku Klux Klan, it originated out of the Democratic Party.
The Ku Klux Klan?
It did.
Okay.
Every civil rights legislation that ever has been passed in this country was authored, written, sponsored, and voted on 100% by Republicans and not Democrats. Every civil rights legislation.
Well, what you gonna do?
So let me credit about Trump.
Right.
So as a kid, I remember being 6, 7 years old and seeing Donald Trump receiving an award with Muhammad Ali, Rosa Parks from the NAACP. Not only that, he engaged and interacted in our culture from the 80s throughout the 90s and even the 2000s, from rappers to Michael Jackson. So when we looked out into our culture, his face appeared many, many times. So for me to grow up now and then hear the media, because before the media started saying he was racist, I never heard a black leader say it. I never heard my grandmother say it. I never heard no one even mention anything bad about him other than rappers giving him praise in over 3.
One of the most difficult things for Democrats to realize is that they are on the wrong side. And it's very difficult. It's very difficult when you've been taught your entire life that it's conservative, that it's Christians, the Republican Party, they hate you, they hate your skin color, and they will push this on you as a young, impressionable mind, and you'll grow up your entire life believing it. But then to one day see that, okay, fine, Democrats are for us, but why is it that my entire list of closely held political positions align so closely with conservatives? That usually happens to be what we call the awakening. But most people will reject it because they'll be like, oh, no, this is just a bad Democratic administration. We got to wait for the next one. All the while, Republicans are the ones that are trying to help us unlock our truest potential in the United States of America.
300 to 600 rap songs. So for the media to say, oh, he's racist, I knew they were playing con on us. And I can remember when America was great. I can remember when black children could play outside all day long and you didn't hear about kids being kidnapped. You didn't hear about drive-by shootings. I remember when black people celebrated Juneteenth. We ate together on Sunday. That was great during those times. So I remember when America was great. And you talking to a 46-year-old man whose first generation kid who got to experience Dr. King's dream of going to school and holding hands and living next door to white people. Black people really didn't do that in the 70s. They done it in the 80s when I grew up.
Well, what we gonna do about Trump when he goes to jail?
He's not going to jail because one thing that's guaranteed to him is a Secret Service protection no matter what. So what prison can he go to because he still has to have Secret Service. He's the president of the United States of America. He cannot be in a general population of a prison. Do people really believe that our president, a former president, is gonna go do some time?
I never thought of it that way about the Secret Service.
It's guaranteed to him for life.
That makes a point.
So he'll never go to jail. So let me just say this. If y'all really believe he's going to jail, then show me his mugshot.
You've been listening to The Other Side with Dwayne Caraway.
I think that's a very intriguing position he took. So number one, leading with the history of the Democratic Party, and we all knew that that's the birthplace of the Ku Klux Klan. That is correct that every piece of legislation that's passed in terms of Civil Rights Act and everything else has been passed and supported by the Republican Party. And then he went into Trump's cultural significance. That's correct. He's been a cultural icon, TV shows, movies. Like he was in Home Alone, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He's been pictured with Michael Jackson and any celebrity you can think of. He was generally accepted by Oprah and all the other people with major platforms in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. He had his TV shows that were highly regarded, critically acclaimed throughout the 2000s, like The Apprentice and other TV shows. It wasn't until he ran for president that was when they started to tell a different story. All the people that claimed to be his friends, that claimed he was a good person, they all seemed to just turn on him for some strange reason. And I think that's what Charleston White is trying to highlight. He's like, we can tell when you guys are trying to count us because, number one, when it comes to the black vote, Democrats usually, on average, get about 90% of the black vote. And people in my community, we vote blindly. We don't do our due diligence. We don't research our politicians. We just say, well, he's a black man. He understands the black struggle. Therefore, he can empathize with us. And he's going to make us the focal point. That's how we approach voting in the United States. We don't hold them by creating PACs, like there should be some sort of black PAC where we get together, we put our money together and put it behind a politician with a list of demands. We're gonna give you X amount of dollars to support your campaign, and this is what we need from you, X, Y, and Z. We don't do that. We just say, because you're black, we hope you support our community and our causes, and it never happens that way. Obama got away with it for 8 years. He didn't do anything. He passed legislation for the LGBT community. He championed their community. He did not champion the black community. Current day, looking at even Chicago, all our major cities, our great major cities, New York City, Chicago is being absolutely decimated with the migrant crisis, and Mayor Brandon Johnson has betrayed his people to the point where black people are actually saying, like, we don't want you. We want you to resign. And he's not going to resign because you voted for him blindly. You went from Lori Lightfoot to Brandon Johnson, who is a Marxist. And now look what he's doing. He put you guys last once again. He used your vote like they always do. They'll claim black power, black this, black improvement. You'll hear all that rhetoric when they're running. But as soon as they're in power, it just always seems to appear they subscribe to this globalist agenda rather than what we need locally. Our nation can be healed if we start from the bottom and work our way up. If we focus on putting in power politicians that actually are going to be beholden to their platform and their words, and they start from the bottom up, starting with the locality, healing us on a local level first, and then we can transition towards larger statewide, maybe even federal wide issues. But if we keep thinking that these guys are going to, like President Biden is going to fix it, it's going to be top down, it's not going to happen that way. He can't perfectly calibrate policy for every locality. It's just not possible. So that's why local elections matter so much more. But what I'm happy for is that we're in 2024. It's an election year. Biden's administration has been so bad. It's at a point now where even his approval rating, I feel like they're fixing it now because it should be a lot lower. But he's still been in terms of historical rankings, he's been the lowest rated president in terms of approval. And for vice president, Kamala Harris has been the lowest rated vice president at a point during this administration as well. And this is the person, she platformed on the whole black woman, first black woman, this, that. She's the most incompetent vice president. She is not good. She's actually disappeared from the public eye. Nobody knows what's going on. Every time she makes speeches, she's socially awkward. She's laughing like crazy. She can't make coherent sentences anymore. And this woman was absolutely astute when she was attorney general out in California and represented San Francisco. She was as sharp as they came. She was tough on crime. And as soon as she got mixed in with Biden and all these globalist puppets, it's like a lobotomy was performed on her. I don't know who that is. But of course, I voted for Trump in 2020. But here we are now. I like to see this. I like to see more black individuals wake up and are not afraid to say, hey, I'm stepping away from the Democratic plantation. I'm focusing on values that actually will benefit our nation, like having a strong border, like having strong communities, like bringing families back together, because the nucleus of our nation is our families. So I'm great to see this. I'm happy to see this. Charleston White, we'll continue breaking down some more segments from this podcast he appeared on. But let me know your thoughts and comments down in the comment section. Deuces.